Would it be fair to say that we as parents may feel the need to take to the streets and shout about the lack of resources and availability of support to support a child living with individual needs and differences such as autism, ADHD, neurodiverse conditions, medical or perhaps a physical condition? We may have attempted to make some suggestions, some recommendations, or provided some feedback towards a referral or an incident that may have occurred where we felt that our child was physically or emotionally unsafe, but our contributions may not have been taken on board. And in those moments, it may have seemed easier to take an approach where it ensured that we would stand out in a way that grabbed the attention of others. But is this the best approach to guarantee that our child will get the support as a result? In this video, I'm going to discuss what drives us to act in a way that we feel the need to shout the loudest. And is shouting the loudest the best way to ensure that our child will access that EHCP assessment or perhaps a place at their preferred school, or even have access to the right support to support their individual needs and differences whilst they're at school? On this channel, the focus is how we as parents show up as we advocate for our children. My name is Brenda and I'm a parent mentor and a fellow parent. I support parents raising children with individual needs and differences to stay empowered whilst they navigate through procedural challenges. I've been made aware that the best way is to shout the loudest, especially if I wanted to make sure that my son will get the right support at the right time and in the right place. I've been introduced to terms such as if you don't ask, you don't get. As much as I feel that there's truth to that, it's been important to me to recognise in those moments when I felt the need to shout the loudest, has that been the best approach? I've experienced moments and situations where my child has gone for long lengths of time without consistent support, and this has created a situation where it has made him feel unsafe to be in those particular environments. And despite feeling that I've been advocating for him and sharing and making recommendations and suggestions and providing feedback as to why he feels this particular way, information that I've taken from other professionals to support the situation, I have felt on many occasions that my voice hasn't been heard. Hence the reason why things got to the place that they did. That I felt the need that in that moment the only approach that would be suitable to address the situation was to shout the loudest. Shouting the loudest can make any parent feel that being loud is the best way to win an argument, even if you may think that you're wrong. It looks like we've got confidence and perhaps agency over a situation, and it makes sense for any parent when trying to exert influence on decisions being made about your child's abilities and progress. Examples of using this approach could be where you've tried to, as a parent, you've tried to initiate the process of an EHCP and there's been a lack of progress, making you feel that perhaps you haven't been heard. Maybe you've made suggestions about your child possibly going to a different school. All in all, trying to prevent your child from struggling because their needs have been unmet. You would expect by shouting the loudest, you would let those that have that duty of care to support your child know what you're sharing is needed for that particular moment to be able to support your child and prevent them from struggling, or that it's unjust that your child needs to be in that situation and have that experience without acknowledging what you have to say, as well as letting them know that this is something that should be done. So when looking at the benefits of using the approach of shouting the loudest, this would be grabbing the attention of the teachers, the local authority, in order for them to acknowledge your child's challenge. And this could be done whilst we're at an annual review meeting, or maybe in the school corridor, or maybe at the school gates, as being the loudest can ensure that our message is heard. Another benefit is that shouting the loudest can demonstrate assertiveness and confidence, which can be beneficial in negotiating things such as applying reasonable adjustments perhaps. And the other thing is that shouting the loudest can help you to stand out. I don't know about you, but have you been in a situation where you've provided some feedback about how your child is feeling and then been told that there's a lack of staff available, there's 30 other children in the class to attend to? That may be the case, but this would make shouting the loudest feel like the most feasible approach. Because what happens is you then start to assume things such as, well, Johnny's dad seems to have got an EHCP. I know that he would have made sure that his voice was heard by shouting the loudest. And these assumptions may not be helpful. Having mentioned the pros, there are also cons. One is that it can alienate others and create negative perspectives of you as a parent. It strains interactions when working in collaboration with professionals, and it definitely doesn't allow parents to stay empowered and stay connected to the process. Another thing that occurs when shouting the loudest is that it creates a lack of listening, and this can hinder the effectiveness of having positive collaborations. And this last con is that it creates burnout. To be consistently shouting the loudest can be exhausting and can lead to burnout. And burnout is something that we need to avoid on this journey because we're in it for the long haul. I do believe as a parent we need to object at the earliest possibility to situations and circumstances that have a negative impact on our child's progress, especially if we believe that we are right in doing so. So having discussed the pros and cons of shouting the loudest and using that as an approach to make sure that we're heard as parents when advocating for our children, it's really important to recognise that shouting the loudest will have an impact, but also to recognise that there are some limitations. It's important to strike a balance. And yes, there is the option to shout the loudest, but also there may be an alternative option, perhaps to think clearly and utilise the communication in an effective way, because you've got to remember that we're in this for the long haul. Imagine having to shout the loudest continuously every single day. It's not feasible for anyone. And if you're looking to challenge the narrative in an alternative, respectful manner, why not take a look at my website? And why not take a look at some of my other videos? But for now, keep doing what you're doing, stay focused, stay empowered, and keep creating progress. Thank you for listening.